hate how this camera never looks like my hat's on straight, even though it feels like it is. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to our 11th. Can't believe we're on number 11 now. Instance of the Scratch Golf Show here on YouTube. Once again, we are live. We go live every Monday and Wednesday between 8:30 and 9 o'clock to do a golf talk show. Like I said, we're live here on the Scratch Golf Show. If you're new here, you're checking us out live, make sure you like, comment, share the stream with your friends, your neighbors, parents, grandparents, whoever you want to share it with. I'd really appreciate it. Like I said, we are new here on YouTube. We are doing our 11th live show and second major of the year, guys. So we had the PGA Championship over the weekend. Can't believe it's already come and gone. Halfway through the major season already. In about 3 weeks, we'll be 3/4 of the way as we have the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2. Xander Schauffele taking it down at Valhalla this weekend. Great weekend that was in golf. Let's get into it. Like I said, Scratch Golf Show. My name is Marco. I'm a Scratch golfer, hence why we're named the Scratch Golf Show. Like I said, we go live Monday nights to do a recap of whether it's the PGA Tour, a live event, and then Mondays we do our gambling show. We're going to break everything down tonight, so make sure you stay tuned. Couple housekeeping items before we get into the agenda for today. So two things. One, this will be our last live show for a while. So if you guys are watching this live, if you guys are watching this recorded, this will be our last live show for the next few weeks. Part of the reason, one, I'm getting married on Saturday. Yes. Big claps for me. Big claps to my fiance for watching this. Honey, if you're watching this, I love you. Cannot wait to marry you on Saturday. Thank you for being super supportive on the channel. Very, very exciting week for us in our household. So, like I mentioned, this is our 11th live show. Last live show for a while. Probably our last live show until the week of the U.S. Open. Part of the reason, like I said, I'm getting married on Saturday. This week is going to be very hectic. It's the week after the major, and no offense, I do not feel like talking about Colonial or the Charles Schwab Cup this week from a betting perspective. So I'm going to take some time off. If you tailed our gambling picks, we went 2-2 on our matchups. Really, really bad week from a betting perspective. Went 0-5 in the outrights. Didn't hit a single top 10 parlay. Missed the make the cut parlay. Tiger missed the cut, so we just had a really not so great week from a gambling perspective. But we're going to take some time off. I think it's due for a time off for some gambling. So we'll come back ready, recharged, ready to break down the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2. So, like I said, this week we will not have a live show Wednesday. I may tweet out some picks. I'm going to be really busy this week, guys. So sorry if you're expecting a live show this week. Unfortunately, like I said, not unfortunately. Fortunately, I'm getting married. Unfortunately for the channel, that we're not going to be able to continue our live show. I very much enjoyed doing these. Like I said, we're going to go back in the lab for the next couple weeks. Try and get some stuff done. That way, after my wedding, when I come back from my honeymoon, we will not only be ready to rock and roll, it's all systems go here on the channel. So, next week I will be out. Completely out all next week and the week after. So, starting the week of June 10th, which I believe is U.S. Open week. Monday, I want to say, is June 11th. Monday, June 11th will be our next live show. We will do a U.S. Open breakdown that week. We will do our gambling show for the U.S. Open that week. So make sure you stick around. Make sure your notifications are on. Make sure you're subscribed. We're up to 77 subs. If you're following, we've done really well in the sub count so far. We're trying to get to 100 before the end of the month. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. Like I said, last live show for a while. Live show's not going away. We're just putting it on hold here for the next few weeks for my wedding. Next week. And that brings me to my next point. So while I'm out on my vacation and my wedding, we're going to drop hopefully a couple of videos. So if you follow us on X, which is going to be right here at Scratch Golf Show, other corner. If you follow us on Instagram at The Scratch Golf Show, or if you subscribe to our YouTube at The Scratch Golf Show, you'll see that we posted a really, really cool clip for our next video. So we have completed our second interview. We interviewed Golf Lover UK, Ben. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you go watch it. It's going to be a few videos ago with Mr. Golf Lover UK. But next Monday, we are going to be debuting our second interview. A week from today, second interview. No live show. We interviewed Sub 70 CEO Jason Hyland. Jason was a very, very cool guest. It was a really, really cool conversation. And for somebody who's been YouTube for about 5 weeks, 6 weeks, really happy with that as our second guest, guys. So we love that. Like I said, make sure you stick around. We're going to drop that video a week from today, Monday, Memorial Day. Sub 70 CEO, Jason Highland, 40-minute interview. We cover all things from golf, the Sub 70 vision, mission, kind of what they're about, who they are. If you guys don't know Sub 70, they're a direct-to-consumer manufacturer. We cover what it's like working working with tour pros and influencers and guys on social media from the manufacturing side. We also talked about just a bunch of cool stories from Jason. He's been around golf for a long time, so make sure you do not want to miss that interview. It's a very cool interview. So like I said, subscribe. Make sure your notifications are on. No live show as after today. No live show Wednesday. No live show next week. No live show the following week. We'll be returning the week of the U.S. Open for the live show. Next week, a week from today, we'll be dropping our interview with Sub 70 CEO Jason Highland. I will also be dropping a What's in the Bag video the following week. So the week of June 6th or June 5th, I will hopefully drop a What's in the Bag video so you guys can see what's in my bag behind me. So that way we do have a couple videos while I am out enjoying my vacation with my lovely, supportive wife-to-be. Okay, now that we've got our housekeeping items taken care of, let's talk about the PGA Championship, guys. If you lived under a rock this weekend, Valhalla, Louisville, Kentucky. What a weekend it was for the world of golf. Kind of a really crazy clusterfuck of a weekend from the golf perspective. I watched most of Thursday, some of Friday. I didn't get to watch Saturday because I was out of town this weekend celebrating my other friend's bachelor party. Dr. Billy from Core Chiropractic. If you guys watch the channel at all, you guys know who Dr. Billy is for Core Chiropractic. He's my guy who helps me maintain my scratch handicap, stay limber, stay loose. He's getting married in a couple weeks, so we had a really fun weekend celebrating my buddy Dr. Billy. Anyway, so I did get back yesterday morning. I was able to watch all day Sunday, so I was able to watch most of the weekend. Anyway, like I said, Xander Schauffele takes it down at 21 under par. Bryson DeChambeau, 20 under par. Victor Hovland, 19 under par. 18 under par. I forgot he three-putted. Those are your top three, rounding out with Morikawa, a couple other guys. Dietrich at 15 under. It looked like from Sunday it was going to be, it was a really bunched leaderboard. I think Xander and Colin were at 15, Bryson at 13, Thigala at 13, Lowry at 13, Vic at 13, JT at 10, Tony Finau at 10, a couple guys at 12. A very bunched leaderboard, which from normally any other major championship weekend would be great. From a viewing perspective, I loved it. Like I said, I didn't get to watch a ton of Saturday. I watched most of Friday, and I watched all day Thursday. From a viewing perspective, I don't know how we from the fans can complain about the viewing from the PGA Championship. ESPN, wall-to-wall coverage, Thursday through Sunday, all morning, all through the main broadcast on ESPN+. We really do get spoiled with these majors, on these major weeks, guys, with just the amount of broadcast, the amount of exposure that we get from the TV network. It's on all day. You can wake up at 7 a.m., throw it right on your TV on ESPN Plus or whatever streaming software you have now, and watch it. So I think from a viewing perspective, I love it. I love the Masters. I love all the majors because they do such a good job of showing the actual golf shots and TV from the fan perspective. It's on all day. They talk about it all day. So like I said, from a viewing perspective, I thought it was great. Course setup, I'm indifferent about it. Valhalla, if you're not familiar, this is the fourth PGA. I think it's held, fourth major and a Ryder Cup. Your winners are Tiger in 2000, Rory famously won in 2014 over Ricky and Phil. Tiger won in 2000 over Bob May in that dramatic playoff, and then you've obviously got Xander and Bryson, who won this time around. Xander won, Bryson obviously being in contention. So this is a course that does produce, from a viewing perspective, you got some good names, some great winners here in the past. Scores were obviously very low. 21 under was the winning score, the lowest score to par relative in major history. It had been 20 under had been reached on a few different occasions. One, most famously, the November Masters with a little bit of an asterisk. Dustin Johnson did that. Cameron Smith in 2020 at St. Andrews. Another one with a bit of an asterisk because as the game has gotten, the game of golf has gotten more advanced with technology, courses like St. Andrews have gone to the wayside. It just is what it is. We need to accept it that the game has grown and some of these courses just can't keep up with the modern game. Jason Day at Whistling Straits in 2015 with his famous duel with Jordan Spieth for Jason Day's major in 2015. And then I think that might be it. Outside of Xander and then Bryson. And if you guys are watching in the chat, and if you guys think of the other time that was a 20-under that I'm not thinking of, let me know. I am hanging out in the chat, guys. I know I usually don't answer your questions or hang out, but we're trying to today. Like I said, last live show. If you want to get a breakdown of what's happened on the channel, rewind about 6-7 minutes. I talk about what's coming up this week. This is our last live show for the next few weeks. But yeah, so Bryson and Xander, 2021, and then Victor had a putt to get to 20 under, 3-putt at 18 for bogey, but a great week by Hovland. Yeah, and then it was all headlined by Friday. I'm sure if you haven't seen, but you've seen by now, the number one player in the world, Scotty Scheffler. I turned my TV on. I literally wake up, I'm waking up on Friday morning, and me and my fiance are laying in bed. I turn the TV on to get the broadcast going, and I wake up at like 7 a.m. and I see 15 tweets, ESPN, Scotty Scheffler arrested. What the fuck? I wake up to that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? The number one player in the world arrested for what? So then I start doing the phone scroll, get on Twitter, seeing what I can find out, tweet out some opinions, get the interaction built on a Friday morning. And then Jeff Darlington, obviously, if you guys didn't watch the broadcast, Jeff Darlington, who was the reporter from ESPN who actually got the video of Scotty being arrested, did a really good job kind of breaking down what happened. Just an absolute chaotic scene. Like, people kept making the memes, man. I love golf Twitter. Like, golf Twitter, I think, is awesome for certain things. The memes of, like, Scotty and Tiger, like the comparison of after Tiger, Tiger obviously has his famous run-ins with law enforcement. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but the memes of comparing Scotty and Tiger, like after the play on the course, now they're both being, run-ins with law enforcement. I thought that was pretty funny. In a moment like that, all you can really do is laugh. It was obviously a misunderstanding. I'm not one to advocate, talking shit to the police or anything like that. But just from a perspective, it was just kind of a cluster. It was a joke that was running rampant on Twitter. Obviously, it was a much more serious matter. Scotty was booked, was processed. There's a famous meme going around that I tweeted out. If you haven't, like I said, followed on Instagram at The Scratch Golf Show or on X at Scratch Golf Show, I tweeted out Scotty's mugshot. I made a meme. I like The Office, so I naturally think of Prison Mike. Michael Scott. I like Prison Scotty, so I tweeted that out. That was really funny. Scotty was in contention going into Friday or after Friday. Like I said, I didn't watch a ton of Saturday. I was out of town. But from the sounds of it, 2 over 73, his first round over par in 41 rounds this year. I want to put that into perspective. 41 rounds, 1 round over par. 1 round. This man is an absolute machine. Gets arrested, shoots 5 under 66, but it kind of fell out of it on Saturday. It is what it is. He came back with a nice, I don't know if it was 65 or 66 yesterday. But yeah, so the career Grand Slam, glad we could put that story to bed. I really don't want to hear that for another, month as we lead up to Pinehurst if he were to win, because he's not going to win the career Grand Slam in 1 year. That was very much a media machine. But good on Scotty. I'm not going to sit here and provide updates on the court, Raymond, all that nonsense. If you guys want that, go follow on Twitter. I'm sure one of the other golf engagement farming accounts is going to do that. Maybe Nuclear Golf. Not me though. So that's my thoughts on Scotty. Our picks that we had, so outrights, we had BK, a disappointing week from Brooks. After I did the show last Wednesday with ES Golf Bets, if you guys want to go rewatch that live show, we gave out some picks last week. After kind of doing the show last week, I don't want to say I regret betting Brooks heavy, as much as I did. I had a future on him. But after hearing the reports of the course, how much rain had got, the course had gotten, how soft it had gotten, that's just not Brooks Koepka. Like, Brooks Koepka is not going to win a major at 20 under. Brooks Koepka is not going to win a major at, 15 under. I think out of his 5 majors, the only one that has been super low was Aaron Hills and Bell Reeve. The other ones have been, 9, 10 under. Famously at Oak Hill last year, he won at 9 under. So, BK, similar to Scotty, I think he went 67. Then on Friday, he had a bunch of birdies, a couple bogeys, ended up shooting a couple under, getting into the weekend, I think 3 or 4 back. Shot himself out of it on Saturday. Man, this week was, and you'll talk to a lot of the PGA Tour guys or a lot of golf pros in general, but most guys on tour will say every week they're going to have one round where it's just going to be a grind. It's going to be a struggle. It's really hard to put 4 rounds back to back together, 4 solid rounds of golf. And you'll have a 72, you'll have a 73, and if you can grind out a couple under, those are the days that's going to struggle, where you're going to have to come up with a score. This week was not one of those weeks. This week you had to be all 4 rounds in the 60s and mid-60s. Like I said, 21 under won it. GG Fanatic with a question in the chat. How do I think the arrest affected Scotty's play? Great question. I think Saturday it affected him more than Friday. I think Friday he still had so much emotion running through his body. I think he had so much adrenaline. From someone, like I said, I've never been arrested, so I don't know what he was really going through. But that's probably a relatively traumatic experience for somebody. I understand he's the number 1 player in the world. But I think it maybe takes some time to process that. So that's why I think we saw it on Saturday that he really did not play well. And I think he had talked about it in his post-round interview Saturday. It was like, today I woke up, I was much more like conscious of what happened. I was much more like in the moment, kind of just really tired, which I understand. I mean, he got pulled over at 6 a.m. or he got arrested at 6 a.m., then went and played 18 holes. I think it was a combination of that. And just, you're going to have a bad round. Like I said, 41. I want to say it was 41. It may not be 41. Somewhere around that number was the amount of rounds that this man has played at par or better this year, which is unreal. So I think part of that is just, he had a bad day, man. It happens. Like, even Tiger, for how great he was, he still had rounds over par. It's a hard game. And I think it was a mixture of that and also a mixture of not having Ted Scott in the bag. So if you guys didn't watch, famously, that was kind of a storyline going into the weekend, was Scotty had told the media that Ted Scott was not going to be on his bag Saturday early in the week because Ted Scott had to go back to, I don't know where he's from, somewhere around, and do his family graduation or his daughter's graduation, which is awesome for Teddy, awesome for Scotty for letting, Teddy go and do that. Family first, right? It's super important. But I think you really saw maybe that impact of not having Ted Scott in the bag. I think it had a lot to do with that, a lot to do with obviously the arrest. And my man's just tired, man. He's a new dad. We talked about a little bit about how his sleep schedule would be affected. Ultimately, I'm pretty sure he still grounded out a top 10, which is really impressive. But I mean, the arrest, obviously. I mean, if if anyone tells you it didn't, I think they're lying. But yeah, great question, GG Fanatic. Thank you for posing that in the chat. Anyway, Brooks. Yes, so BK, it wasn't going to be, he's never going to be a guy to win a shootout. So I kind of regret taking him, but I'll fire Brooks again for Pinehurst. Don't you worry. I'll fire Brooks again for the third and fourth major. So Brooks obviously didn't get it done. We had 4 other outrights, Willie Z, Cam Smith, both kind of faded. I don't know, I've been disappointed in Cam Smith since moving to LIV. He's obviously won LIV events, but he hasn't really... He was on such a hot run, man, in 2022, and he's just kind of regressed back to, I don't want to say just a guy, but he's not really played well. Other outside of LIV events, obviously, but in the majors, he hasn't really been in contention. And then we had Bryson. Obviously, Denny McCarthy was another feature of ours. We had Bryson. So we did have one feature that was saving us going into Sunday. So naturally, I was pulling for Bryson. Really good to see him play well. He's been really playing well on LIV. He's been really playing well, really going back to the last year, to last year's PGA, top 10 last year at Oak Hill, famously the T6 at Augusta this year, and then T2. And what the guy's going to do, he shot 20 under par in a freaking major championship. And for me, like that's why it's so hard to bet golf in these outrights. And that's why I've, until this year, until I started doing my own gambling show on YouTube, that I've tried to somewhat stay away from betting golf outrights every week. This is like our third week in a row. We've had the second place guy. We had Louis at Live Golf Adelaide. We had, I forget who, Thomas Peters maybe in Thomas Peters at Live Golf Singapore. And then we had Bryson this week. So, you know, it is what it is. Bryson, like I said, played really well, shot 20 under par. Sunday, 64. He famously chipped in for eagle on 18 on Saturday. Made a really good putt on 18 on Sunday to get to 20 under. I was saying, you know, to the people I was with that 20 under is going to win. Everyone was saying 19. I felt like if Bryson got to 20, he would at least get into a playoff. And that was a sick up and down that he had. If you would have saw his drive where it ended up in the bunker on 18, for him to make birdie, like that was such a hard shot. He's got a ball below his feet, water all right, to an elevated green. Got to make birdie, 72nd hole of the PGA Championship. And he takes a 6-iron, hacks it out of there, out of the fairway bunker, gets it up, you know, pin high basically to the left side of that green on 18. Made the putt. And then they showed, I think KVV from No Laying Up showed the video of Bryson seeing the putt go in on 18, and that's just heartbreaking. Like from a competitor's perspective, like he was grinding on the range, beating the ball. It was just him and his caddy, from what I understand, on the range, and watching that putt go in, he kind of stormed off. I get it, man. He's a competitor. I just don't know what you do, and. A couple other guys that I want to talk about before we get into the golf course and what my thoughts are on the golf course of Valhalla this weekend. Rory McIlroy. Oh, Rory. Another major. Another disappointment. Another week that this was the week. I mean, I have famously said, and I said it at Augusta, that I will not bet Rory this year. I will not bet Rory until he gets it done at a major. I almost fell for the trap this week. I almost did. Did not put a future on him. After his win at Quail Hollow, another disappointing weekend. Like I said, you just could not have a 70 or 71 this week if you wanted to be in contention. Rory famously went 66, even par on Saturday. I think 3 under even par on Friday. I think 3 under on Saturday, and then I think he shot 4 under yesterday. To famous Rory backdoor top 12. I don't know, top 10, whatever he had. I don't know, guys. I don't know when and if. It's so funny because I literally talked about on our gambling show that I'm talking about all these guys, and I said it was a 3-horse race. I said Scotty, Rory, Brooks. I don't know how one of those 3 doesn't win this week. Famously, I talked about it. I said Xander is up there with these guys from the betting market perspective. I don't see how Xander gets it done this week. Naturally, Xander gets it done. But yeah, guys, I just don't know. I don't know. It seemed like everything, all the stars were aligning for Rory to win this week. Back-to-back wins, right, at the Zurich in New Orleans, and then at Quail Hollow last week, of course, that he's won 4 times. He has literally finally found his confidence, finally found that Rory strut that we were so famous to seeing back in the early 2010s when he was just rattling off wins, rattling off majors. And now, guys, this has been literally 10 years almost. We went to the course that he last won his major, and he still couldn't get it done. Oh, Rory. I don't know. I think he'll get to 2 or, I think he'll get a couple more. And famously Tiger did it too. Tiger went, 10, 11 years after 08 at Torrey, 2019 Masters. I just don't know when Rory's going to get it done. If it wasn't this week, I don't know when it is. So, yeah, another week for Rory McIlroy. Some other names, Sahith kind of fell apart on Sunday. Lowry, 62. Ricky kind of fell apart. Colin, so I talked about Colin a little bit last week. All pars on Sunday, really. It is what it is, man. That's going to happen. Like I said, you couldn't really have those days, but it seemed like Morikawa was finally hitting it well. He's finally hitting that fall-off cut that we're so used to seeing when he is just assassinating flag sticks, when he's just hitting these 5-yard cuts. It doesn't matter if it's from 90 yards or from 290 yards. He's hitting these cuts right at the flag stick. So it's good to see Morikawa back in the swing of things. A guy I want to talk about next is John Rahm. But first, I'll touch briefly on Hovland. Victor obviously had been lost going into this week. I think if you actually bet him this week, you might have been able to get some value on him. Early in the week, it was noted by the No Laying Up guys that Victor has gone back to his old swing coach, Joe Mayo, who he famously just went on an absolute tear with last year, won the FedEx Cup, won the BMW, won the Tour Championship, won at Muirfield, the Memorial at Jack's Place. So, it was somebody he had. It looked like he had finally cemented himself. And Vic has been a guy, obviously, who's a big name coming out of college, Oklahoma State, won the USAM. So it's good to see him play well. Almost confirms, what the fuck are you doing leaving your swing coach who you just won 4 times with? But hey, I'm a golfer, man. We all get it. We all like to tinker. We all like to change. So it's really good to see Victor play well. He's going to be a sleeper, and I don't know how much of a sleeper he is now after finally putting a good week together. But I would say he's a sleeper for the U.S. Open as well as the Open Championship. The dude is an absolute ball striker. And he's not the longest, but man, when he is swinging, he hits it so good. He doesn't miss a center, man. So it's good to see Victor playing well. I really like him. He's a funny guy. He's a younger guy, so I'd like to see him play well. Anything else? Yes, John Rahm. Man, I don't know what happened to Rahm. I'm not going to be the one to bash on the guy for going to LIV, right? He famously signed with LIV in the offseason in December. Got paid a boatload of cash. It's been rumored 500, 600, 7 million, 100 million. Anything over 100, what's another 100 million? Who gives a shit? The guy got paid. His game, I don't know, man. I've listened to a few different podcasts, whether it's the Tour Junkies, the Smiley Kaufman Show, the Morons Who Talk on Golf Channel, our guys at Golf Lovers United, Ben and Pro Golf Critic. Really, any foreplay, any golf show, it seems like it's a mixed bag from Rahm. I've heard from people saying, he regrets his decision to go to LIV. He's not competitive anymore. He's fallen off a planet, all that nonsense. I think maybe that has a little bit to do with it. I've heard, like I said, I heard some of those shows talk about how LIV doesn't do a good enough job preparing these guys for major championships, blah, blah, blah. They don't play the, whether it's the courses, the schedule, the field, the shotgun start. I think it's nonsense, personally. I think we've shown. Brooks Koepka won a major literally last year. The PGA Championship was second at Augusta with the lead going into Sunday. Bryson T6, Bryson T2 this week. Obviously, LIV is doing well to prepare their players for a major championship. So I want to get that thought out of everyone's head. But it is puzzling for Rahm. I don't think it's the LIV issue. I just think maybe he's going through a rut, man. Because he has played well on LIV. He's top 10 every LIV event. And whether you like LIV or you don't like LIV, I've gone on the record saying I don't mind it. I like watching it. I've watched almost every event this year compared to last year or even the first year. The league's inauguration. But at the end of the day, it's golf. And they're golfers, and they have a bunch of good players in the tour, so why wouldn't you watch it? It's literally free golf. But T45 at Augusta, defending champion. I can understand that one more than this week because, coming into Augusta as a defending champion, you got the Champions Dinner, you've got all the stuff that comes with being a champion. And it's his first major going to LIV, so obviously he's getting a ton of questions about that. So I can really see why he didn't play well at Augusta. But for my man to miss the cut on this course, this course was a birdie fest. You've got guys making birdies from everywhere and anywhere. You've got multiple 62s, which we'll talk about that here in a minute. And John Rahm comes out Thursday and bogeys 4 of his first 6 holes. And it's 4 over through 6 on Thursday. And you thinking, man, how are you not making birdie? How are you not lighting this place up? And I can't figure out why. I can't figure out what's going on with him. His frustration, he's obviously very frustrated. Chucking clubs, you love to see that. On LIV, you get more of the hot F-bombs, the hot mics that, Rahm has done. But I don't know what's going on with him, man. It's been really weird. He hasn't won since Augusta last year, so it's been over a calendar year since his last World Golf win, including LIV, including the PGA Tour. I always see these morons who are like, oh, John Rahm is really good. He didn't win on the PGA Tour after Augusta. It has nothing to do with him going to LIV. I just think maybe he's struggling, man. It's not that uncommon. I mean, Xander Schauffele hasn't won in 2 years. The guy just won a major championship. He's been playing well. Maybe he plays better competition on the PGA Tour. That's not for me to say. I'm a scratch golfer. I can tell you my opinion on stuff. The guys on LIV are just as good as the guys on the PGA Tour. There may not be as many of them. The field maybe not as deep, but these guys are just as good. They're all professional golfers. They're all in the top 0.00001% of golfers. I'm a scratch golfer. I'm in like the top 5%. Like 80% of golfers can't break 90 or 100. So for us to sit here and, all these morons who say, oh, the PGA Tour is competitive. Oh, LIV's not competitive because the fields are weaker. Man, all these guys are professional golfers. They're all really good, and they can all shoot under par basically whenever they want. They're going to shoot 75. They're going to shoot 80. They're pros. They're also going to shoot 61 and 62. And from somebody who has literally shot at the 60s like 8 or 9 times, it is really difficult to not only shoot in the 60s, but to shoot a low 60s round. And Jon Rahm's shot multiple rounds in the 60s and LIV this year. So I don't think it is. But it's just something to look at for the rest of the year. LIV is off until, I think, another month. I want to say they're off until LIV Golf Houston or LIV Golf Nashville. I don't know what their next tournament is. But it actually may be the U.S. Open. I'm going to double check. I don't know what their schedule is. Okay, so next tournament is the week before the U.S. Open, June 7th to 9th. LIV Houston, then the U.S. Open, then they've got LIV Golf Nashville, June 21st to 23rd. So we will see Jon Rahm again. I don't know, man. I just think it's interesting. I think if he picks up a win on LIV, maybe you can bet him in a major. But for now, I don't know how you bet this guy in majors. Just, not playing well right now. And I don't know what it is. Because it's Jon Rahm. He's obviously a really good player. Okay, I think that's it, guys. If there's anything else you guys want me to talk about in the chat, any players you want my perspective on, type that in. Leave a comment. If you're new, if you're watching this live, thank you for tuning into the Scratch Golf Show for our 11th live show. Like, comment, subscribe, share the stream, all the good stuff. Quick housekeeping item. We just did our chipping video, so if you haven't watched that, it's going to be under our videos section. Gotten some good feedback so far, so if you're looking to become a better golfer and drop some strokes off your game, we're doing our Getting to Scratch video series on the channel. First one was putting. This is very simple, a couple putting drills, a couple putting thoughts to help you guys, and then our chipping video also. So Getting to Scratch video series, we got 2 videos done. Make sure you check out the putting and the chipping video. Anyway, now the course. I struggle with this. I struggle with the fact that we've now seen in the past 6 majors, minus Augusta, we've seen how many 62s? And if you guys are new here and you guys haven't watched a ton of golf, before Brandon Gray shot 62 in, I want to say 21, I don't know what major it was, what year it was at the Open. There was nobody in the history of golf who had shot 62 in a major before. It's been done multiple times in like the last 4 years. Xander's got 2 of them. Shot 62 at LACC last year at the U.S. Open and 62 at Valhalla this week. New course record. I saw somebody on Twitter posted to break the course record was like plus 1,300. Should have talked about that. That was on me. Thank you, GG Fanatic. I appreciate it. Thank you for loving the putting content. It was a great video, like I said. And before we hop off, I'll kind of talk about what to expect next in the series. But thank you. Thank you for the comment. That means the world to me. I just started doing this. I'm doing this as a hobby. And so I want to help you guys improve your golf game. So thank you. Thank you for that comment. That means the world to me. Anyway, guys, I struggle with these courses. Like, I don't want to see these guys get to 21 under every major. I think it's cool. I think it's telling that in the last 2 years we've had 3 of them, and no offense to Ricky Fowler, he's got 1 of them. And Ricky, really? Until this week, Xander, really? I don't know, man. So that do with that what you want with the courses. I liked it. I am big on golf course setup. I think these guys are just so fucking good. It doesn't matter where you put them; they're going to be under par. The days of having the even par win or +1. I mean, hell, at the U.S. Open, when was the last time we saw somebody, really struggling at the U.S. Open to get under par? Not last year. Not when Brooks won at Erin Hills. At Shinnecock, yeah. But not recently. I mean, LACC, 11 under, 12 under? I forget what Wyndham Clark shot last year, 10 under. The days of going to these major championships and getting them to even 1 over par. And it's funny because we see all these videos. We see the classic drop the ball in the rough. So how long the rough is. The rough doesn't matter if they hit it so freaking straight. They're in the fairway flipping wedges into these 450-yard par fours. It's insane. I hear the no laying up guys constantly bashing, we need to roll the ball back. We need to do this and do that. No, you don't. And if you're advocating for the ball to be rolled back, you just don't like fun. Because I hit it far, and it's great hitting it far. But what makes these guys so freaking good is how straight they hit it, for one, and how good they are with a wedge, for two, and putting, for three. It's not just the distance that helps them make more birdies. It's the constant evolution of technology. It's constantly practicing, constantly working on your game, constantly trying a new training to help these guys putting, chipping, make more birdies. Like, the distance is not the problem. Trust me, I hit the ball over 300 yards with my driver and mini driver, and I don't shoot under par because I suck at wedges. I'm not a great wedge player. So clearly, that's not what's helping these guys. It's not the distance. I don't know what it is. I just think they're really fucking good. Like, they're just really good. And we need to end the rolling the ball back discussion. It's ridiculous. It's just going to make it less fun for people. It's going to draw less people towards the game of golf. But yeah, I mean, the course I think was cool. I mean, Valhalla produced some good winners. I think from I don't care as much about the course as I do about the viewing experience. When it's Major Sunday, and I famously will tell my fiance this, my wife to be, and she knows, Major Sunday, Master Sunday, I'm on the couch, I'm watching golf. That's what I want to do. And from a viewing perspective, it was great. You had really a 3-horse race for the back 9. You had Xander, Vic, and Bryson making birdies. Bryson birdied 2 out of his last 3. Vic, a couple birdies in the back to actually take the lead at one point. Xander, obviously, Sunday 65. That's what I care more about from a major perspective than the actual course itself. I want the fans, I want the viewers, I want us as people who watch golf to be able to watch golf without loads of fucking commercials. Just simple. Show me shots and show me good golf. Now, that being said, I think this will probably be the last time Valhalla hosts a major. Based on everything that happened. It was an absolute cluster from the beginning. Obviously with Scotty being arrested, Louisville PD. I thought the rain didn't help them on a course that, regardless of where you're at in the United States, I don't think they had sub-air under the greens, so they really were at the mercy of the weather. Regardless of how long a course is, if you get a shit ton of rain, yeah, you and me both, Siege. I had him at plus 2,900. My only outright that actually had a chance. But that's why we bet, right? We live for that moment. Xander, I had him too. I had him plus 2,900, and I posted on Instagram the video of Bryson on the range watching that puck go in. And in my head, I'm like, God, man. Just one time I want to hit an outright again. Anyway, see, no matter how long and how hard the course is, when these greens are that soft and that big without much undulation, these guys it's just going to be target practice. And you saw that. I mean, I think I read a stat from Smiley Kaufman show this morning that this was the lowest scoring from the PGA Championship by over 200 shots. Let me repeat that for you. The lowest scoring in the PGA Championship by 200 plus shots. The next lowest, I think this was like minus 200 or something, minus 180. The next closest was like plus 40. So from a course perspective, it's just like this wasn't a major championship course. It just wasn't. Like these guys are getting target practice. They played the ball up, ball in hand a couple days. So obviously that helps, better scoring. You saw it yesterday with a lot of the mud balls. That was really the only defense that the course had was the mud balls because it had nothing else. It has nothing other than long par fours. Sweet. These guys don't care. They'll take darts from 210 and still fire them at these flag sticks how soft these greens were. So I love the PGA. I think it's really delivered over the past years from the viewing perspective. I don't want to see this course again, guys. I really don't. I think even Quail Hollow next year, I see that course every year. I don't want to see it again, regardless of if it's for a major. They famously did the Reno at Quail Hollow last year, or whenever they had the PGA there, 2017. I don't want to see it there again. I want to see other courses. So there is some cool courses coming up in the rotation. Got PGA Frisco, but whatever. The course was fine. It wasn't the course, like I said, from a viewing perspective, it delivered. Got a guy with a 6-footer, and CJ, I know you just said it, but a 6-footer that almost lipped out. I mean, that thing was about that far from lipping out from playoff, which we all wanted to see. Tiger famously won there with in the aggregate playoff in 2000 over Bob May. But I don't want to see Valhalla again, man. I'm sorry. Good for Louisville. They got they got a major. Personally, for me, we need one here in Michigan. I don't know what we got to do to get a major here in Michigan. I know we've got one coming up at Oakland Hills in a few years, but there's a lot of good golf courses in Michigan that could do better than that. I mean, if we're being honest. So yeah, that's Valhalla. I like the course. I think it was okay. I don't really care about like I said, I don't really care much about the aesthetics. I just want to see a good winner, a good Sunday. So it delivered. PGA, like I said, I think it fits here in May. I like how we basically go from March on. We've got essentially a major a month from March into July. We've got the Players, the Masters, PGA, U.S. Open in June, Open in July, into the playoffs, which suck. But yeah, so we're into the heart of major season, guys. In 3 weeks, we'll be doing the U.S. Open show. So yeah, that's about it from my perspective on the PGA. Overall, a good week. I just think that maybe time to go to a different course. And another issue, and I'm going to wrap up here in a few minutes, guys. I know we've been on for an hour. It's typically a little longer than I like to be alive for, but big week. Like I said, last live show for a while. But yeah, I think they need to do something about they need to find courses that are like ginormous. Like the amount of fans who attend these events is I don't want to say it's getting out of hand, but it is. Like the courses cannot handle this many spectators, which sucks. You saw it at LACC last year. The viewing perspective sucked because there was no fans. So they need to go to courses and target courses down the line that have the infrastructure to handle 20, 30,000 fans a day. Whatever it is. The Waste Management does it every year. And obviously, whatever you feel about that tournament. But they really need to figure that out going forward. And that's it. That's going to be kind of my last wrap-up thoughts on the PGA, guys. A great week. If you're watching us live and you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're at 77. We've seen a ton of growth on the channel over the past 3 weeks, ever since we've been posting videos. So thank you for subscribing. Couple housekeeping items to end. If you guys weren't around at the beginning of the stream, I'll do this now. So this is going to be our last live show for a while. Not ending, just going on a brief hiatus. I'm getting married on Saturday, so tonight will be our last live show for a while. No gambling show on Wednesday. I'm actually going to drop just a quick 2-minute video on what to expect on the channel, so you guys know what to expect coming up. I'm going to be gone for my wedding this weekend, and then we come back Monday. We leave for our honeymoon Tuesday, and then I'm gone through the end of the end of the following week. So no live shows until the week of the U.S. Open. We're going to come back fresh from the honeymoon. Thank you, honey, for being supportive. And we're going to hit the U.S. Open hard. So we're going to do 2 shows of the U.S. Open week preview and the gambling show. Next Monday, a week from today, if you guys are not following us on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing. Make sure you follow us at the Scratch Golf Show on on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, at Scratch Golf Show. Make sure you're following us because today we dropped a really cool preview of our interview that we're going to drop a week from today. A little minute-long preview with Sub 70 CEO Jason Hyland. That's going to be a banger video, guys. Really love that. It's a really great conversation with Jason. We talk about a number of different things, working with tour pros from the manufacturing side. What's it like running a direct-to-consumer company? All things Sub 70, week from today. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss that video. And that's going to be Monday. So make sure you watch that all next week. And then the following week, we are going to do a What's in the Bag video, and that's when I'm going to be gone. A quick preview for the channel in June. So when I'm on my honeymoon, I'm going to be playing a really cool course in the Caribbean called Point Hardy. I'm going to do a bunch of camera work for that. So when we get back, make sure you like I said, notifications are on so you don't miss that stuff. But yeah, guys, come back in June. We're going to hit the channel hard. We're going to continue the Getting the Scratch video series. I know we've had a couple comments in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. It means the world to me that you like the content. We did our chipping video last week. Make sure if you haven't watched that one, watch that one. If you haven't watched that one, go back to the putting one, watch the putting one, and then the chipping one. It's 20 minutes total. I think the putting one is 11 minutes. The chipping video is like under 7.5 minutes. If you want to get better, if you want to improve lower scores, invest 20 minutes of your time watching my Getting the Scratch video series. The next thing we're going to cover in the video series is going to be your scoring clubs. So I'm literally going to go to the range and do some film stuff. I'm going to show you guys easy drills to learn feel shots and really improve your scoring clubs and inside 150 yards. So that's going to be a preview of what's coming up here on the channel the next 4 weeks. Like I said, and I'll say it again for the 10th time. This is our last live show. It is not permanent. We're just on a hiatus until I get back from my honeymoon. I think that's it, guys. So let me just make sure I don't have anything else on the agenda. I don't think so. So, great week from PGA Championship. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Congrats, X-Man, on getting it done. Killer weekend from Valhalla. Great viewing perspective. Unfortunately, CJ, like yourself, Bryson at plus 2,900 cost me a few hundred bones, but we'll live with it. Yeah, guys, so like I said, if you want to rewind, watch the show, go ahead, do that. Make sure you subscribe. I want to get to 100 subscribers before the end of June. Make sure you do that a week from today. Sub 70 CEO, Jason Hyland. All right, guys, that's going to wrap. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. Have a good rest of your night and a good week, guys. See you guys in a few weeks.